Good morning, welcome all of you, Bande Matram. So, on this great evening, we are going to discuss a big topic, of course, that is on quiet mind. So, it is a brilliant topic on this great morning. It is a great discussion, it is a great analysis. Of course, we will know on the different parts and the different workings of the mind. So, as we know, we'll start here from the quiet mind, from the explanations as explained by the Divine Mother. So, on quiet mind, the Mother quotes beautifully: quiet mind, the best way of learning. So, if you want to learn, that there is no other go. We have to learn. When somebody stops aspiring, he begins to die. When he feels I am saturated, I am satisfied, then only the next step is decay and death, nothing else. So, we have to learn. This is a continuous process. This is not only confined to your university, school, or college syllabus. This is a continuous process. As the exams are coming on the life for a very specific period, there we maybe in a like legal way or an illegal way, while all your efficiency or maybe with a partial efficiency we gain a degree, that's what. But thing is that to obtain a spiritual degree it needs lots of tests and exams. Now we are going to discuss, this is the quiet mind. If the mind is quiet mind, the best way of learning, that is the word. So this quiet mind, this silence in the mind, we have to practice it. It is not a it is a ceaseless process, not one time revelation. So practice silence of the mind, it gives power of understanding. If the silence is being manifested in the mind, then it gives the power of understanding. Again, Mother quotes, the more we know, the more we see that we don't know. Mother's another quotation is there on education. She has explained us beautifully, not only to the students or the people who are pursuing their course, regular course. It is there in the. It has been explained magnificently. Before you start learning, you just see I know nothing. You have to keep the temple clean to wish there the divine living presence. Again, mother is having a beautiful observation on mind. Then do one just mother gives one comparison, like we are going to the temple. What we are doing, we are getting our cleaning our feet and we are entering the temple like this. Does one enter the temple with dirty feet? Mother asks question. Likewise, never. With the dirty feet, with the muddy feet, with the being actually soiled, no one enters the temple. Likewise, one does not enter the temple of the spirit. There was the temple of the gods. Here, the temple of the spirit. That here there is a dynamism. So here entering the temple of the spirit with the solid mind, that is what the requirement. After the silent mind we are getting the solid mind, we have to go purified, of course prominent, the pure 100% purified, that purification must be there. Solid mind. The whole world may perish provided my whims are gratified. It will perish. My whims are gratified. That example you can once Nene and Hahui, they had a discussion. Hahui immediately told, this is the truth. Immediately Nene, okay, you got the stands up. I am moving because this controversy starts, this destruction starts, this class and strife starts. Hahui is astonished. How everything you can claim? Yes, you have done. This is right. This is right means you are picking that universal right. You think, you feel, you say, this is right for me. This is your personal truth. Personal, I will accept. But this is the truth means it is getting universalized. So don't complain like this. Anyway, that was accepted. Provided my whims are gratified. If that is done, then there is nothing but the world's perishing. Such is the attitude of the egoistic mind. Another mind we claim that it's egoistic mind. While reading Savitri, we can see hundreds of mind. But the thing is that everything comes under the five different categories like mind, higher mind, spiritual mind. In between spiritual mind, we can find higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind. Then comes the supermind. Overmind is the passage of to supermind. Supermind, there is already only truth. And from overmind onwards, below the ignorance, the falsehood, it comes to existence. So egoistic mind which seeks to impose the principle upon it. This is the work and principle of the egoist mind. It imposes. So what principles upon it? Impose principle. Its principle. Almost in this, it is coming out of intellect. There is, it is backed with all these thoughts, negation, falsehood, ignorance. In the divine spirit, principles and desires are one and the same thing. The principles are whims of the mind, just as the desires are the whims of the vital. Think two things. Desire is the whim of the vital. Principles are the whims of the mind. So these are the things that are actually disturbing the spiritual progress. One must take care. In the divine side, principles and desires are one and the same thing. Principles and desires and the one and the same thing, because desire coming from the vital and the principle coming from the mind. Both are actually nothing. Again, we are always surrendered by the things which we think, surrounded by the things that we see, which we think. What we think now, we feel that is 100% correct. After some time, we just contradict. We ourselves contradict, because this, with the change of consciousness and the change of center of living, many things get changed. So here, mother course, we are always surrounded by the things of which we think. That's what. Like evening, night before you go to sleep, suppose you are seeing one demon, naturally in the vision, in the dream only you can find the demon. If you are just concentrating on the God before going to sleep, only God will come. That is the scenario. Then an old wise man of China, he had a beautiful remark. There it is, thoughts creates for itself its own suffering. Suffering, the cause of desire is the soul of suffering. You must, in this yoga, desire has no place. Instead of desire, there must be a single pointed aspiration. But actually, the desire must perish. Anyway, you have to satisfy it fully or you have to reject it fully. Anyway, desire must perish. But here, actually, an old wise man of China, he had written, thoughts create for itself its own suffering. So, what is the remark and how mother explains? Those who think falsely will live in the, they will live in the falsehood. So, if their thought, their expectation is in between falsehood, they will falsely live in the falsehood and misery. And get out of the wrong thinking, and you will get out of the suffering. If this wrong thinking, wrong this thing, your elevation and the wrong surrounding, if you have at all tried and of course you have get elevated, you have crossed the limits, then naturally you will find get out of the suffering, there will be no suffering. So falsehood and the misery, they are creating suffering for you, that is confined and almost emerging from your thought with the mental process. But the second course here, it is only love that can understand. It is only the love that can understand and get at the secrets of the divine working. Only love, divine love, that can understand and it can love, it can understand and know the divine working. The mind, the physical mind especially, mother course, that is actually incapable seeing correctly and it always waits to judge. It has the ability, not the ability to judge the divine truth, but actually it errs and always wants to judge. It can't see correctly. That is the problem with surface mind, physical mind. It is only a true, sincere humility in the mind. It is only a true, a sincere humility of the mind, allowing the psychic to rule the being. So how the rule will be, the things will be, beings will be ruled. It is only by the psychic, not nothing with the mind, because physical mind, it actually makes errors and falsely judges, tries to explain that it is true, but thing is that it different. It is true sincere humility in the mind and allowing the psychic to rule the being, that can save the human beings from the ignorance and obscurity. If the ruling is by the psychic instead of the mind, then these human beings can be saved from ignorance and obscurity. Above all, the complication of so-called human wisdom, mother quotes here, that is fully complicated, and the luminous simplicity of the divine grace ready to act if we allow to act. It is there, it is all around, it is awaiting to calm down and act in us. But thing is that we must be ready to acknowledge it, to allow it to work, to surrender it to its working, and to be very much open to it. That is the requirement. Life could not could be quite simple and easy. Not, would be mother could be that actually indicates that it is now at the present scenario it is not simple and easy. It is complicated and it is difficult. If man's mind did not introduce in the so many useless complications, if this man's mind will be able to avoid these useless complications, then naturally you will find a greater, simple, and luminous, easy life. Again, we'll go for Sri Aurobindo to analyze his couple of writings through this analysis on the mind. Man's mind is not the original creator, it is an intermediary. So don't think it is the apex. If mind is all, renounce the hope of truth. If mind is all, renounce the hope of bliss. For mind can never touch the body of the truth. It is very much limited. It has got its own limitations. Man's mind is not the original creator, it is intermediary. Man is itself is by itself is incapable of ultimate certitude. Never. Yeah, whatever the mind's position may be or elevation may be difficult, unless otherwise the top of the apex is reached. Bound is actually it is covered up. Man is not the last word here of the spirit. Man is not the last word here of the spirit because mind is man, supermind is superman. The greater man is coming with a greater mind. Superman is coming with the supermind. Man is the instrument of analysis and synthesis. That's what only the mind can do. An instrument of analysis and synthesis, but not the essential knowledge. We are making errors. We don't know, but actually we feel everything is like this. Then we'll feel even when the most luminous, it is possessed only by thin, reflected, and pallid light. Nothing 100%. It is not purified. It is not perfect or efficient. Only as Sri Aurobindo quotes, it is possessed only by a thin, reflected, and pallid light. Truth of mind is always relative and uncertain and partial. Truth of mind is always relative, uncertain, and partial. It has got not the full way because four blind men seeing the elephant. So wherever they are touching, because they can't be able to see the entire thing, they conclude with the legs, they feel it is like a pillar. So like ears, they feel it is something like an instrument, like something like they feel like this. And teeth, they feel it is so. So these are the things they actually feel and see. Original truth is somewhere it is hiding. Truth of mind is always relative and uncertain and partial. It can't be full. So our mind, human mind, clamors to be impressed at every turn by miraculous power, easy success, and a dazzling splendor. Everything is sometimes miraculously happening. Success will be coming easily. Splendor will be a dazzling one. Otherwise, it cannot believe that here is the divine. Sri Aurobindo categorically said this and explained. If you follow your soul mind, it will not recognize the mother even when she is manifest before you. Because mind, it has got limited capacity, fluctuating character. The soul that looks at the truth, mind that looks at the appearances. The human mind, shut in the prison of its half-reality obscurity, cannot follow the many-sided freedom, the steps of the divine Shakti. Impossible. It can't see, it can't analyze, it can just hope up, it can't dream, it can conclude because everything is partial, uncertain, and relative. Again, to be the slave of the mind is to be the slave of false, limited, and apparent. If somebody wants and hopes to be the slave of mind, it is to be the slave of false, limited, and apparent. The light of outer mind is quite insufficient for the discovery of the inner values. It is on the surface or subsurface, not able to analyze it entirely what is happening or to judge the truth of the spiritual experience. Again, it is not the mind that created the world. The world is created but not by mind. The which has created mind is the creator of the world. So mind is not the last summit. So you have to spiritual matters, mental logic that blunders. So mind must be taken care of, must be silent.